On any given day, Torrey Pines hosts an average of 9,000 people. That number swells on the weekends and holidays and recedes a bit in the middle of the week.
We've got the state beach and the scenic bluffs along the coastline. We've got the state natural reserve, which is basically the hilltop, which is the higher elevation on top of the bluffs and the area surrounding. And then we've got the Los Penasquitos Lagoon.
The reserve can be stunning depending on the weather or time of day, but the park's popularity comes as much from where it is as from what's there. Nestled next to the ocean, the reserve is an island of natural habitat in a sea of civilization.
I think it's the fact that you're in the middle of a big city, but within just a few minutes walk, you can be alone looking at one of the most beautiful views around. Being on top of the bluffs, looking out at the ocean, and you can see from La Jolla up to Oceanside on a clear day. It's really beautiful, sometimes beyond.
That popularity makes the park a financial engine. The reserve generated about $2 million in revenue from parking and passes last year. But the popularity comes with headaches. All those visitors challenge a small state park staff to protect the fragile natural resources.
Oh, wait, we're going to take a picture. Here.
Ranger Dylan Hardenbrook stands at an overlook and points out at a popular hiking destination. The red outcropping offers commanding and sought-after views of the ocean. He says some visitors are too impatient to get there.
The trail is back up behind us, but they can see a natural shortcut. So they climb over the fence, and you can see the erosion that it's caused down in the front, and then the large trail intersecting both of the Razor Point and the beach trail down below.
Reserve officials spent nearly $100,000 installing what they call needle and thread guide wires along the trails. The thin metal posts have wire strung between them. The idea is to keep hikers from wandering without spoiling the view.
The type of soils and vegetation at Torrey Pines are really susceptible to being trampled upon. The ground is very erosive, and the types of plants take years to decades to recover once they get trampled on.
The local wildlife is another reason to stay on the trails. A resident rattlesnake was making its way through the park on a recent morning. It's not a common sight, but the park celebrates the uncommon. Ecologist Darren Smith says there are 40 plants in the reserve that are rare enough to have special status. One, the short-leaf Dudleya, is only found here in the park and one other nearby location.
And we have several of the rarest plants, in the world, and in California certainly, that grow right out on the open surface here. And it looks like an open, nice place where it's easy to walk to.
Smith says the problem with that is one poorly placed step and a critically endangered plant is dead. But he says protecting habitat, preserving historical sites like the historic Coast Highway, and making the park people-friendly is all part of their job.
So we want people to come here and experience it and enjoy it, but we're tasked with doing that in a manner that they don't, they don't impact and destroy it. And it's very difficult, and it's also very expensive.
Park rangers say more than 90% of the visitors follow the rules. They stay on the paths and enjoy the park with minimal environmental impact. But the park can get 15,000 visitors on a sunny weekend or holiday. Rangers say educating visitors is the key, but they admit that their small staff and volunteer docents can be overwhelmed by the crowds. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.